My life exploded in one single morning. Not with fireworks, not with some Hollywood soundtrack, but with one sentence that hit me like a truck. You're fired. Not spoken by my boss. Not whispered by some HR rep holding a clipboard. No, it was said by my father-in-law. My CEO father-in-law. Yeah, seriously. That's how my Tuesday started. I was standing in the 33rd floor conference room of Anderson Dynamics, the billion-dollar tech company I've been working at for 6 years. The skyline of Dallas was glowing behind him like it wanted to stay out of it. Meanwhile, I stood there, sweating through my dress shirt like I'd just run a marathon in the desert. "Excuse me," I said, thinking I misheard him. My father-in-law, Mark Anderson, didn't even blink. "Jake, you're done here." "Bro, what?" I blurted out before I could catch myself. He frowned, like my slang personally offended the board of directors. "This isn't personal," he said, making it sound very personal. My inner thoughts were screaming, "Dude, you can't fire your own daughter's husband like he's a seasonal intern at Target." But that's exactly what he did. And the worst part? He didn't even give me a real reason. "Performance misalignment," he said, waving a hand like it was nothing. "And frankly, Jake, I never thought you were right for my daughter." That one hit harder than the firing. I swear, my brain stopped working for a full 5 seconds. The room felt like it tilted. My stomach sank. My vision fuzzed out. It wasn't just a firing. It was a slap, a challenge, a warning. "You're kidding me," I muttered. He wasn't. He slid a folder across the table like some movie villain. "Security will escort you out." "For real?" I whispered. "After everything I've done for this company?" He looked me dead in the eye. "Son, you didn't build anything here." That line? Yeah, that was the gasoline, the spark, the match. Because right then, something broke in me. Or maybe something woke up. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I didn't grab the folder. I just stared at him and thought, "All right, old man, watch what happens next." And with that, I turned around, walked out, and had no idea that the next few months would flip my entire life upside down. But the real shock hadn't even hit yet, because I didn't know his plan was way bigger than firing me. When I stepped outside the building, the heat hit me like a wall. Dallas sun doesn't play, dude. I loosened my tie, inhaled the sticky summer air, and thought, okay, what the hell do I do now? 6 years, hundreds of pitches, thousands of hours, all tossed out like a used napkin. And then my phone buzzed. It was my wife, Emily. "Everything okay? Dad said he needed you for a quick meeting." My chest tightened. How the hell was I supposed to explain this? Before I could answer, another notification popped up, an email. I opened it, and my stomach dropped. He terminated my company email 10 minutes before firing me. Dude didn't even wait. He played chess while I was still figuring out checkers. I called Emily. "Hey," I said, trying to sound normal, but failing. "What happened?" she asked instantly. "You sound weird. Your dad fired me." There was silence. Then, "What? No way. You gotta be kidding me." I wish I was. I told her everything, leaving out nothing. The tension, the insult, the "you didn't build anything" line that still stung like lemon juice on a cut. "Jake, he wouldn't do that without a reason. He literally said I wasn't good enough for you." More silence. Then a soft, heartbreaking, "Oh." She believed me, but I could hear the confusion, the denial, the sting of being stuck between husband and father. "Come home," she said. I did. And that night, everything broke. Emily confronted her dad. He doubled down. He called me impulsive, reckless, unambitious. And then he dropped the bomb. "I'm not letting my daughter build a future with someone who can't build a future for himself." Bro. I stood in the hallway, overhearing all of it. Every word, every dig, every insult. I wanted to punch a wall. I wanted to scream. I wanted to prove him wrong so badly my teeth hurt. That night, Emily cried. I held her. And the whole time, one thing repeated in my mind like a drumbeat. This man thinks I'm nobody. And I didn't know it yet, but he was also making moves behind the scenes, moves that would almost destroy me entirely. But he underestimated one thing. My ability to rise from absolute zero. The next morning, I woke up with one goal. Rebuild. Not revenge. Not yet. Just rebuild. I opened my laptop at the kitchen table and stared at the blank screen like it owed me answers. I'll figure something out, I told myself. But honestly, I had no idea where to start. None. I've been in a comfort zone at the company. Steady salary, steady role, steady path. Now I was free falling with no parachute and a storm overhead. I applied to jobs. I got ghosted. I pitched myself to startups. Crickets. I tried freelancing. Barely made gas money. Every rejection felt like my father-in-law whispering, "Told you so," in my ear. And then I hit my breaking point. It was a Thursday. Emily was at work. I was sitting in the living room, surrounded by 5 coffee cups and a pile of discarded resume drafts. I dropped my head and muttered, "Man, maybe he was right." But then something wild happened. While scrolling my old notes, I found a folder from years ago. A blueprint I'd sketched out during one of my maybe one-day moods. The idea was simple. Luxury tech accessories, premium, American-designed, high-end finishes, materials that didn't feel cheap. A brand built for people who wanted tech gear that felt like fashion. Leather-wrapped phone batteries. Magnetic carbon fiber organizers. Charging docks that looked like art pieces. My heart kicked. Hard. Dude, what if I actually built this? Not in 6 years. Not in one day. Not when life was perfect. Right now. When everything sucked. It was stupid. It was risky. It was insane. Which meant it had potential. My pulse rose as I whispered, "Let's do it." I didn't know it then. But that moment of desperation was the spark that would ignite a multi-million-dollar empire. But the moment I started building it, somebody tried to stop me. And I think you already know who. I spent the next few weeks sketching designs, studying market gaps, and watching YouTube manufacturing videos until my eyes felt like they were melting. The brand name came to me at 3 a.m. Vantage Luxe. Luxury. Precision. Elevation. It sounded like something people would flex on TikTok. I was fired up. Finally. I hadn't felt that alive in years. But of course, right when things finally looked up, my phone rang. It was my old coworker, Jenna. "Jake," she whispered urgently, "I just overheard something about you in the boardroom." My stomach instantly turned. "What happened?" She hesitated. "Mark told the board you're trying to compete with the company." "Wait, what?" I just started sketching ideas. "He's calling it a conflict of interest. He wants legal to send you a cease and desist." I stood there frozen, gripping my phone like it was going to explode. "Bro, that's insane," I muttered. Jenna lowered her voice even more. "He said," and I'm quoting, "he won't get far." He never does. That line punched the air out of me. Dude was actively stepping on me, even after firing me, like he wanted me to stay on the ground. I paced the hallway, my mind racing. A cease and desist? For what? Thinking? Sketching? Emily came home right then and saw my face. "What now?" she asked gently. I repeated everything. She didn't say a word. Not one. Instead, she grabbed her keys. "Where are you going?" I asked. "To talk to my dad." I tried to stop her. She wouldn't listen. That night ended in yelling. Doors slamming. More tears. But the next morning, Emily sat beside me and said quietly, "Do it anyway." Those 3 words lit my fire again. But Mark wasn't done. Not even close. Because the next attack, he didn't just want to sabotage me. He wanted to destroy me publicly. And I was nowhere near ready for the storm he unleashed. Despite everything, I pushed forward. I built prototypes using a small workshop on the edge of town. The place smelled like sawdust, metal shavings, and ambition. My first products came out rough, like they'd been chewed on by a raccoon. But they were real. I refined them, improved them. I poured every ounce of myself into the details. 3 months after the firing, I launched the first Vantage Luxe collection on Etsy and a basic Shopify page. I expected maybe 10 people to visit the site. Within 24 hours, over 3,000 visitors. Within 48 hours, we sold out. Sold out. I just sat there on the couch, staring at the screen, whispering, "No way, dude. No freaking way." Emily jumped into my arms, screaming. I felt like electricity was running through my veins. For the first time in months, I felt alive, validated, powerful. But then it happened. The news article. A tech magazine posted an exclusive claiming Vantage Luxe was using stolen concepts, violating corporate ethics, built by a disgruntled ex-employee of Anderson Dynamics. They didn't say my name, but everyone knew. And guess who the unnamed executive source was? Yeah, Mark. My father-in-law went full Game of Thrones on me. Customers freaked out. Orders slowed. My inbox blew up. But instead of panicking, something cold and sharp settled inside me. Fine. You want to play dirty? I'll play smarter. And right then, I made the decision that changed everything. I decided to scale. Not small, not safe, not slow, massive, aggressive, unstoppable. But I had no idea my next move would uncover a secret even Emily didn't know. To scale, I needed funding. Not loans, not small investors, not handouts, real backing. I pitched to angel investors across Texas. I got a room full of polite smiles and come back later speeches. But then, out of nowhere, I got a meeting request from a private investor named Marcus Hale. Big name, big money, big influence. We met at a rooftop bar in Austin. The guy looked like he walked out of a Forbes cover shoot. Tailored suit, calm confidence. The type of man who could buy a jet on a Tuesday and forget about it by Wednesday. He listened to my pitch without interrupting once. When I finished, he leaned back and asked, "Why are you really doing this, Jake?" I hesitated. Then I told him the truth. "I want to prove I'm more than what someone thinks I am." "Who?" he asked. "My father-in-law." Marcus smirked. Revenge motivation. Dangerous, but powerful. Then, he hit me with a twist. "I know Mark Anderson," Marcus said casually. "We've worked against each other for years." My heart stopped. "What do you mean against?" He sipped his drink. "Mark has enemies, and you accidentally landed on the opposite team." I frowned. "I didn't choose a team." "Doesn't matter," Marcus said. "Your success hurts his legacy. That's why he's trying to crush you before you grow." I stared at him, stunned. So it wasn't personal? It wasn't about me at all? It was about control, power, legacy. I wasn't a threat to him as a person. I was a threat to his reputation. But Marcus wasn't done. "I'll invest," he said, "but only if you're prepared for your father-in-law to escalate." "Escalate how?" I asked. Marcus smiled like he knew something I didn't. "You'll see." And he was right. Because the next escalation was nuclear. With Marcus's investment, everything exploded in a good way. We got a real design team, a real manufacturing chain, real marketing, real momentum. TikTok creators started reviewing our products. Luxury influencers posted unboxing videos. Celebrities ordered our stuff through private assistants. Within 6 months, Vantage Lux hit $4.7 million in sales. 4.7. I stared at the numbers on the screen and whispered, "Bro, we're gonna make it." But that success attracted attention. The wrong kind. One night, at 11 p.m., my legal team called me. "Jake," they said urgently, "Anderson Dynamics filed a lawsuit." I closed my eyes, exhaling slowly. Of course they did. The allegations were insane. Breach of NDA, intellectual property theft, brand interference, defamation by association. It was designed to drown me in legal fees, to break me, to force me to surrender. But thanks to Marcus, I had the resources to fight back. The next 3 months were hell. Depositions, evidence reviews, meetings, late nights, stress migraines. Emily was caught in the middle. Her father, her husband, two worlds colliding. She tried to stay neutral, but one night, she finally cracked. "Jake, when does this stop?" she cried. "When I win," I said. "But he's my dad, and I'm your husband." The silence after that felt like a canyon. But then, my lawyer called. "You're going to want to hear this." What he told me. The next 3 months were hell. Depositions, evidence reviews, meetings, late nights, stress migraines. Emily was caught in the middle. Her father, her husband, two worlds colliding. She tried to stay neutral, but one night, she finally cracked. "Jake, when does this stop?" she cried. "When I win," I said. "But he's my dad, and I'm your husband." The silence after that felt like a canyon. But then, my lawyer called. "You're going to want to hear this." What he told me was the beginning of the end. My lawyer slid a stack of papers across the table. These emails were recovered during discovery. I skimmed them, and my jaw dropped. Mark didn't just try to sabotage me. He hired people to spy on my early business, leak fake stories, manipulate suppliers, block vendors from working with me, create burner accounts to post negative reviews, influence investors to reject me. It was full-scale warfare. But the worst part? There were emails proving he planned to tank my marriage by framing me for financial fraud. Yeah, that's how far the dude was willing to go. When Emily saw the evidence, she broke. Not for me, not for the company, for her father. He was willing to ruin your life, she whispered. And he didn't care if it ruined mine. The lawsuit collapsed after that. Mark's board forced him into early retirement. His reputation imploded. Stockholders demanded investigations. And me? Vantage Lux became the hottest luxury tech brand in America. But the real twist? 2 months later, I got a letter from Mark. It wasn't an apology. It was a job offer. He wanted to join my company as an advisor. I laughed so hard, I almost choked on my coffee. I wrote 2 words back. You're fired. Today, Vantage Lux is a $50 million brand with retail partnerships across the country. We have stores in Los Angeles, Chicago, Miami, and New York. Emily and I, still together, stronger than ever. She works with me now, head of creative strategy. People ask me how I did it, how I rose from being fired by a billionaire to building something bigger than his whole legacy. And I always give the same answer. Because someone told me I couldn't. Funny how that works. Sometimes the greatest blessings are disguised as betrayals. Sometimes the person trying to bury you is the same person who accidentally plants the seed. And sometimes, getting fired is the best damn thing that ever happens to you. Because it forces you to build something they can never take away. Your own empire.